Hello, listeners. Today, I'm going to share by request an old favorite, Lil Possum. It's an old favorite in our class, and it's actually also a very old story that was passed on by good storytellers for many, many years. We think it started first in Australia, but it was shared with me by a most excellent storyteller who worked in Georgia, the great state of Georgia outside of Atlanta. She shared it with me at a storytellers convention, and I've done it off and on, most recently at Grandparents' Day this past Thanksgiving. So I'm going to share it with you now, and you can pretend that you're repeating it back with your friends, and then when we're back together, we'll do it again in chorus. Little Possum and the Thing in the Pond. Now, guys, I wanted to mention when we did this at school for Thanksgiving, at the end, there's a little bit of singing. And we said, it's time to say goodbye. I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving pie. Well, that would be silly now because it's not Thanksgiving. So I think I'm going to say, it's time to say goodbye, though it makes me want to cry. And I won't really cry, but it rhymes. So that's what I'm going to say. And you could change it to your own words if you like something better, but that's what I'm going to do today. From the beginning, Little Possum and the Thing in the Pond. Little Possum loved all the things that his mother gave him to eat. The grasshoppers, the birds' eggs, the beetles, the worms. But the one thing that Little Possum liked the best were his mother's berry pies, and he wanted one right now. So he said to his mother, "Can I have a berry pie?" And she said, "Yes, I'll bake one for you, Little Possum, if you will take this basket and go through the woods, across the pond and the log, and pick the berries for me and bring them back." Little Possum said, "Not by myself. You always carry me on your back. I can't pick berries by myself." "Well," Mama said, "I can't go today. I'm busy." "You're a big Little Possum. I know you can do it. I'll be right here waiting for you." Well, Little Possum didn't feel very big, and he didn't feel very brave. So he's tried saying some brave words. You could say this with me if you guys already know it. "I'm going to cross the pond on a log made of wood. I can do it myself, 'cause Mama said I could." You know, we like to swing our fingers. Let's do it again. "I'm going to cross the pond on a log made of wood. I can do it myself, 'cause Mama said I could." He felt so much better after he said it. So he said it again and again until he had it memorized. Off he went, walking through the woods until he met Mr. Owl. "Ooh, ooh, ooh," said Mr. Owl. "Where are you going, Little Possum?" Little Possum said, "I'm going to cross the pond on a log made of wood. I can do it myself, 'cause Mama said I could." "Ooh, ooh," said Mr. Owl. "Beware of the thing in the pond." "Oh, no," said Little Possum. "What thing?" "I don't know," said the owl. "All I know is it has two big eyes." "Oh, no," thought Little Possum. But he went on by himself. "I'm going to cross the pond on a log made of wood. I can do it myself, 'cause Mama said I could." He marched and he talked until he came to Mr. Snake. "Sss," said Mr. Snake. "Sss, where are you going, Little Possum?" "I'm going to cross the pond to pick some berries for my mother," said Little Possum. "Sss," said Mr. Snake. "Beware of the thing in the pond." "Oh, no," said Little Possum. "What thing?" "Sss," said Mr. Snake. "I don't know what it is. All I know is it has a big, long tongue." "Oh, no." Little Possum kept going, but he was going a little more slowly. He was kind of afraid. "I'm going to cross the pond on a log made of wood. I can do it myself, 'cause Mama said I could." He kept marching until he met Mr. Frog. "Ribbit, Ribbit, where are you going all by yourself, Lil Possum? I'm going to pick some berries in the woods for my mom so she can make me a berry pie. Ribbit, Ribbit, beware of the thing in the pond. Oh no, said Lil Possum. What thing? I don't know what it is. All I know, said Mr. Frog, is that it has big webbed feet. Oh no, said Lil Possum. Now he left and he was going, but he's going pretty slowly. He got to the log and he said as loud as he could, I'm going to cross the pond on a log made of wood. I can do it myself, 'cause Mama said I could. And he stepped out onto the log with his eyes just a little bit open. And he stepped very slowly and he listened. He didn't hear any monster. So he took another step and another and a little bit of a bigger step. And he peeked his eyes open a little bit. And he looked in the water and oh no, there was the thing in the pond. So he ran back and he said to Mr. Owl, Mr. Owl, I saw the thing in the pond. Mr. Owl said, ooh, ooh, Lil Possum, go back and raise your fist at it. So Lil Possum crept slowly across that log till he got to the middle, just peeking. Then he raised his hand up and he shook it and he looked and oh no, the thing was shaking its fist too. So Lil Possum went back across the log and he ran and he ran and he ran until he came to Mr. Snake and he said, Mr. Snake, I'm trying to get across the pond. And I saw the big, very scary thing, and I shook my fist at it. Like Mr. Owl said, Mr. Owl was right, but the thing shook its fist right back at me. Mr. Snake, what should I do? Mr. Snake said, go back, Little Possum, and this time shake a stick at it. So Little Possum got a stick off the forest floor and he crept close slowly to the edge, stepped out onto the log and snuck out. And he peeked his eyes open and raised that stick over his head and oh no! The thing shook a stick right back at him. So he ran back into the forest until he came to Mr. Frog and he said, Mr. Frog, this is such a mess. I've tried several times. I got out in the middle of the log, I shook my fist, and then I tried a stick. The thing shook a stick back at me. What should I do? Mr. Frog said, Lil Possum, I think you should pick up a stone and try again. So Little Possum picked up a big stone. He snuck to the edge. He stepped out onto the log and went out to the middle and took the stone over his head and shook it. And oh no, you won't believe it. The monster had a stone too. So he ran and ran. And this time he didn't stop to talk to anybody until he got all the way back home. And he said, Mom, I'm trying to be brave. I said what you told me to say. And I did this thing with my fist and my stick and a stone, and that monster did it right back at me. And his mom, she just smiled and she stroked his fur and she said, Lil Possum, you go back again with your basket, and this time when you get to the middle of the log, I want you to look into the water and I would like you to smile. And Little Possum thought, my mom is crazy. She doesn't know anything about this monster. But Little Possum also knew that his mom does not change her mind. So he thought, well, I guess I got to do what she tells me to do. There's no choice. So he said to himself, say it with me, guys, I'm going to cross the pond on a log made of wood. I can do it myself because Mama said I could. And he did that a couple times. He got out in the middle of the pond. He opened his eyes. He smiled as big as he could. Crazy thing, guys. You won't believe it. The monster smiled back at him, and Lil Possum thought, well, my goodness, I think that monster wants to be my friend. And I think so too. So this is the part for singing. And it will go better if you sing along with me, for all of us. Even though we're not all together, it's more fun if we're all together. I wish I were a thing in the pond. Oh, I wish I were a thing in the pond. I'd scare everyone like this. And then I'd give him a great big kiss. So I wish I were a thing in the pond. Oh, I wish I were a froggy in the lake. That's my dog. Oh, I wish I were a froggy in the lake. I'd jump way up high and eat those flies. Oh, I wish I were a froggy in the lake. Oh, I wish I were a snake in the grass. Oh, I wish I were a snake in the grass. I'd slither and I'd hiss and I'd strike and never miss. Oh, I wish I were a snake in the grass. Oh, I wish I were an owl in the tree. Ooh, ooh. Oh, I wish I were an owl in the tree. Ooh, ooh. I'd practice looking wise. I'd swoop down and get my prize. Oh, I wish I were an owl in a tree. Oh, I wish I were a possum near a pond. Oh, I wish I were a possum near a pond. I'd walk across the log and I'd give that thing a hug. Oh, I wish I were a possum near a pond. But I'm glad that I'm a kid at our school. I'm so glad that I'm a kid at our school. It's time to say goodbye, but it makes me want to cry. I'm so glad that I'm a kid at our school. Hooray! Guys, enjoy Lil Possum with the surprise visit of the Black Lab.